Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the latest edition of the Surround Sound Podcast on whichever social media that you're viewing us, whether that's YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook.com/Surround Sound Podcast. We definitely appreciate you. If you have any questions about the PGA Championship or anything else, make sure you drop it in the comment section and we'll definitely get a hold of those questions, and we'll definitely be able to reach out to you. Okay, so this week's show, we have the golf manager of the course at Pillow Springs, Mr. Rick Saxby. If you remember last time, a couple of weeks ago, during the Masters, he was on with us, and we'll talk to him a little bit more about the PGA Championship and all those things that are involved with it. Also, we're going to sneak and ask him a few things in regard to the Detroit Lions and their stunning offseason. Let's see if we can pull on Mr. Saxby. Looks like Mr. Saxby is actually out at the course. What's going on, Mr. Saxby? How you doing, brother?
I'm great. I'm great, as you can tell. Yes, sir. No better place to
I'm
be.
just about to say, you look like you're relaxing there.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Golf can be a relaxing game if you don't let it get to your head. So, and I'm way past that point.
I can definitely dig it. One of Mr. Saxby, I feel like one of the keys to doing anything now is something that I learned from you on the golf course. Keep your hands relaxed. If
That's
your
right.
hands are relaxed, you can just about do anything calm. What you think?
I agree. Tight grip
Ex-
leads to a lot of tension throughout the whole body. So just relax. It's like cradling a bird in your hand.
Excellent, excellent. And you know what? You are always as cool as the other side of the pillow.
Yeah, okay, Stuart.
Okay, so this is that. Before we get into everything that's going on in Valhalla, in Louisville, you had a very dynamic experience. Of course, last time we saw you was a couple of days before the Masters started at Augusta National. What was your experience like on Championship Sunday?
Oh, well, the weather was stellar. It's like walking into another world. It really is.
Wow.
Everything is perfect. The entire facility is perfect. The volunteers, the staff there, it's run impeccably. And of course, the golf course was. I had the distinct pleasure of being able to go 17 years ago, and the golf course is even much harder than it was back then, in my opinion.
Wow.
It just they've lengthened it, and but it was something. I mean, the best player in the world stood out. The best player in the world stood out.
And you know
It was
what? That is an excellent segue into my next topic and question. Speaking of the best player in the world, number one ranked Scotty Scheffler. Of
mm-hmm,
course, he won the Masters, the 24 Masters, the first major of this
mm-hmm,
year,
mm-hmm,
and he came in tied for second last year, the PGA Championship.
mm-hmm.
But he hadn't played any significant golf, or at least competitive golf, since April. Do we think rust will come about in relationship to Scotty possibly winning this year's PGA Championship?
No, no, not at all. And Ruben, lest we forget, he played in the RBC Heritage out at Hilton Head the following week, and he won that. And he, the only reason he stepped aside is because his wife had a little baby boy,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and I am sure he's over the moon about that. And I'm sure he got a little practice time in every day because I'm sure his wife said, "You better keep this up. We got a new
Very
little one
true.
here." That's right. But no, I don't think rust will have anything to do with it. at all. There's a lot of players, some of the best players who have ever played, who have always been off a week or maybe 2 weeks before a major. And he's at Valhalla already. I think he got there yesterday, and I think he's still the man to beat. Um, he the last guy who was the world number one in 2014, Rory, won at Valhalla, and Tiger, when he was number one, he won at Valhalla in 2000. So I would not be surprised if Scotty Scheffler keeps that going. Not at all.
Real quick, let me ask you a follow-up question. As I see the perfect scenery out there at the course at Pillow Springs, what makes Scotty Scheffler special in your opinion?
Well, I mean, some players are just transcendent. I mean, it's something inherent that I don't think can be acquired. But his mental side, his mental approach is so good. He just he never, even last year when he played great, but he could have won more if he had putted better. Well, all he did
Mm-hmm.
was all he did was improve his game during the winter in this spring in his on the putting aspect of his game. And he's just, he's deadly accurate. He's got great iron play. He hits the ball in play off the tee. So, but I think it's his mental approach. The best players in any sport, I think, are the ones with the best mental outlook. They just know that they're good. They don't have to prove it to anybody but themselves. And I think that's what it is with Scotty Scheffler. I don't think he cares too much about what the media thinks. So I mean, I'm sure he does a little bit, but I just think that he's taking care of himself. So
That's very interesting. As we were talking about earlier, our hands being calm, him and his mind. His mind is calm, and that is what has taken him to that number one status. Speaking of number one status, we got a top five that are basically the usual suspects, from John Rahm to, of course, the aforementioned Rory McIlroy, even
mhm.
Justin Thomas, who won his second PGA Championship back in 22. These guys, Kepka, uh, um, uh, like I said, Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, these guys, or should we even expect them to do well? Like, who are your favorites for this year's PGA Championship?
Well, of course, besides Scheffler, I mean, McIlroy won last week in convincing fashion, and I'd love to see him play well. But I think Kepka was a little embarrassed about his play at the Masters, and he won overseas recently. I think Kepka is good. I think Max Homa will contend. He's real solid, and he plays the tough courses good. So I think Homa, and I wouldn't be surprised if Morikawa plays good again. So Colin Morikawa.
Excellent. We definitely want to. Speaking of Rory McIlroy, we definitely expect some good things from the number two ranked player here in the world. Okay,
Yep.
so Tiger Woods, he made
Hmm.
the cut at the Masters this year.
Hmm.
Then after that, more information about his schedule has come out. He's sticking to what he said at the beginning of the year. He's going to basically play a, a tournament a month, and he's going to play all the. Well, now it looks like he's going to play all of the major tournaments.
Right.
I have to ask you, and I think I'm gonna ask you every time. Do we think Tiger Woods can make the cut this year and possibly be a contender?
Well, if if they don't have weather problems, he barely made the cut at the Masters, and a lot of that was related to the weather delays, and it left him on the
Okay.
course way too long on that Friday. He had to
Uh-huh.
play 23, 24 holes. So if the weather cooperates, and Tiger always played Valhalla great, so I mean he has a shot to make the cut. I mean, I'm sorry, but I mean, just his overall skill is transcendent. But can his body hold up? I think as long as he doesn't have to play more than 18 a day, he'll be okay. I would give him a 60-40 on making the cut.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can dig it. I can dig it. Okay. So your Detroit Lions have been doing. I'll say. I don't think it's a stretch to say that they've been doing stellar the past 18 months.
Yep.
Stellar. And this is coming from a Chicago Bears fan. We're not gonna talk about us this go round.
Yeah. That tastes like vinegar, I know. But go ahead.
Very, very much so. But this week, the Detroit Lions re-signed quarterback Jared Goff to a 4-year extension. What, 212 mil?
Yeah, just a
What
little
do you think about that?
Yeah. What do I think about that? Good for him. Hey,
Oh,
if somebody wants to pay it, I'm all for it, man. So
excellent. Oh, well, I mean, I'm just basically saying he was an overall #1 pick some time ago. He went to the Super Bowl
Rams.
when he was with the Rams. He got Detroit close to a first Super Bowl appearance by mightily losing to the 49ers in the NFC Championship. Do we think he's the guy? Do we think he's the guy of course, in your opinion, do we think he's the guy that could take the 3-1-3 to a Super Bowl?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Excellent.
He's got all the tools, and but they got to surround him with the right people. And boy, I tell you, they have. Oh, man, they definitely have some weapons. Definitely have some weapons.
Excellent. Yeah, and they had a pretty good offseason. What do you think about the offseason, re-signees, offseason acquisitions, and the draft?
Well, St. Brown was, of course, fantastic re-signing.
Yeah.
Penei Sewell, yeah. I mean, probably one of the best 2 or 3 offensive linemen in the league. And the Lions, they decided that the one thing that they were a little lacking on was in the defensive backfield, and well, their #1 pick was another guy out of Alabama. So
Yeah.
I mean, Alabama knew how to grow those guys. So
Just a little bit.
they even drafted. Did you see that guy they drafted out of British Columbia, Canada? They drafted this guy who's like 6'8", 350 pounds, but they said he's an athlete, and it was like they kind of took a flyer on this guy, but as an offensive lineman, like 4th or 5th round. But if he works out, and they got him, in case Taylor Decker gets hurt or they got to move guys around, that would be something. So I believe in that Brad Holmes. I'm telling you, Brad Holmes, him and Dan Campbell, whew, man, those guys have been rocking it.
I definitely agree. And they drafted, of course, two cornerbacks. Well, actually 3 overall DBs, but Terry and Arnold and Raxter out of Eastern Michigan. Yeah, definitely good signs. And defensive heavy draft, offensive guard, offensive tackle. I can definitely dig it. All right, Mrs. Saxby, last question. Who do you think is going to win the PGA Championship here in 2024? Anybody you got?
Yep, I'm going to go with Scheffler again.
Excellent.
I picked him last time, and I just think you got to ride the horse until somebody else beats him, and I just think he's the guy right now. I really do. I think he's the guy. I would love to see him get the Pinehurst and be able to win at Pinehurst and have a shot at that Grand Slam. He would be. It would be great, but he's got to win. I'm telling you, winning a major on the PGA Tour. Look, if you win a major on the PGA Tour, you're almost a cinch for the Hall of Fame. So that's how big winning a major is. Yep. Most guys that have 10 wins on tour and a major are Hall of Fame.
All right. Well, Mr. Saxby, we definitely thank you for your time. For anyone that is looking to go to the course at Pillow Springs, make sure you go to pillowspringsgolf.com website-wise, and then, of course, you can go to any social media and check them out as well. Just search Pillow Springs Golf. Mr. Saxby, we appreciate you again, my brother.
All right. Ruben, always
All
good
right,
talking
man.
to you,
You
my
have a
man.
great rest of your day.
You too, bud. Bye.